When I was 24, working as a teacher's assistant at Windsor Pine Secondary School, I met this wonderful woman. She was the girl of my dreams, generous and smart, sweet and funny. She was one of those rare girls, no skeletons in her closet, no weird habits, and was very comfortable in her own body. I fell for her, hard. She was a student in my class, and every Tuesday was just heaven because she signed up for my lab time. I wanted to sing when I saw her come in the first time. Her glossy black hair in a neat ponytail. In case anyone was curious, she was of Asian descent. So I started talking to her, getting to know her better, and by the time the semester had ended, we were dating. We got a lot closer throughout the springtime. We never slept together, and by the time summer came, I knew this was the girl I wanted to marry. So, because my mother raised me right, I set it up and she had come back home with me for a week to meet my family. I assumed we would go and meet hers later in the summer. At the end of the week, my family loved her. Thanks for asking. I mentioned meeting her parents. She paused for a moment and said, "Well, I guess, but my family's a little weird." I didn't think anything of it. She was probably worried about a culture clash. "Babe, you just spent a week with my crazy redneck family. I'm sure I can deal with yours." She shrugged, and that was that. She went back home for the rest of the summer, and we would meet at least once a week just to hang out. And near the end of July, I went to spend a week with her family. As I had thought, she had been over-exaggerating. Her mom was a real polite lady with a habit of covering her mouth when she smiled. Her grandmother was one of those tiny little old English ladies who didn't seem to speak English. Her little sister was very shy around me and barely spoke, usually looking up and down and away from me. Her dad, as far as I could tell, was often out on business, and I didn't get the chance to meet him. We slept in separate bedrooms. Well, her mom was pretty strict about that. And this is where it gets weird. The first night, I heard a weird scuttling noise. No other way to really describe it. It bothered me, so I got up, locked the door, and turned the light on. Nothing in my room. I laughed it off and went back to sleep. When I asked them about it in the morning, her mother seemed discomforted by my question. She reluctantly told me that there was some rats in the attic and they didn't have the money to get the exterminators. I laughed and let her know that I could deal with a few rats. For the next few days, we went out and visited the local sites. Although my girlfriend looked concerned at times, all I did was laugh off any weirdness. Like when her grandmother creeped out something at the zoo. At the kangaroos. And I asked her about it. She told me that apparently her grandmother thought they looked tasty. Or when her sister refused my offer of ice cream because she was lactose intolerant, though my girlfriend had enjoyed desserts with me before. Stuff like that seemed more or less the standard level of weirdness for cross-cultural relationships. Although I did find it hard to get through dinner when we had stewed fish and the heads were still on them. At night, I did find it hard to sleep. The scuttling above never stopped. And I guess I should have gotten used to it, although there was still something about it that bothered me. I couldn't put my finger on it, so at the end of the week I finally decided to sneak out and check out the attic. I'm no fool, so I brought a good flashlight, told my girlfriend, who frowned and told me that this was a bad idea and that she didn't want me to get bitten. I found a nice sturdy stick in the backyard. I quickly pulled down the attic stairs, shone the light through the darkness, and seen nothing. So I climbed up and took a look around. It was weird. There wasn't really much in the attic, just some boxes labeled with whatever was in them: Christmas decorations, stuffed animals, etc. But in the corner there was a small cot. I knew right away then that I should have left well enough alone. But I had already gone this far, so I moved towards it. There was no one in it, just a blanket and a pillow. And I was a few feet away when I felt something bite my ankle. I swept the flashlight around, panicking, and I saw a fleeing shadow at the edge of the beam. My mother didn't raise an idiot, so I got out of there right away. I hobbled down the stairs as fast as I could down the hallway to my room and closed the door. My ankle hurt like hell and was swollen. Whatever it was, I wasn't about to wake everyone up because I'd been poking around their house, so I'd figure I'd try and sleep it off. The scuttling continued. I woke up in the dark. My leg was on fire. The pillow was damp from my sweat. I felt sick. I turned the light on, and there she was. She was a middle-aged lady, naked and unkempt, with long, tangled black hair. She was thin to the point of almost being a skeleton. I could see her ribs and her spine and all the divots of her bones. With a strangely round abdomen, kind of like what you would see on a starving people, with a thick red welt in the middle. It scared the living hell out of me to see her there, but it scared me even more when I could see her face, because she was smiling. Her eyes were dark black from corner to corner with no trace of a pupil or white, and her mouth was unusually wide, and her teeth were missing, well, mostly missing. Two close set back fangs poked out of her gums. I screamed bloody murder and scrambled against the wall. She lifted her lips at the sound and raised her arms. I noticed with horror the crusted grime around her fingernails. I was going to die. She was going to cut my throat out with those ugly talons, and I was going to bleed out, and then I was going to die. The door slammed open and my girlfriend grabbed the monstrous woman by the arm, speaking rapidly in a foreign language. Her mother came in right behind her, and I couldn't believe it when they dragged the thing out of the room. I sat alone for a few minutes, sweating from the pain and fear. Her little sister peeked around the door, and when I didn't start screaming again, she came in and sat down at the foot of my bed. We sat quietly and listened to the attic stairs slamming upwards. She sighed and smiled in either hope or relief. It didn't matter, because I felt my heart stop in my chest right in front of her. Bright white human teeth. They were two small, sharp black fangs. I guess you met Aunt Lucy, eh? And that concludes this tale. May the moon guide your path and the wind be at your back, and we hope to see you again down the highway of fear. If you liked this video, please feel free to subscribe, share, and like. We'll be posting weekly, but if you're unable to wait, or you want to see all the mistakes and bloopers we made while recording, please feel free to check out our Patreon, where everything will be uploaded immediately and you'll have early access to whatever you would like.